Um, Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Dinesh Reddy, and I'm an assistant professor in cybersecurity. Um, I actually teach cybersecurity courses in pen testing, malware analysis, digital forensics, and introduction to voice and data security. So today I'm going to talk specifically about steganography methods in text, in voice, and images, and video steganography, which is also a combination of mostly um, audio and image files. Okay, so the methods that apply to images and audio files can be used in combination to achieve video steganography, right? So I'm just trying to share my screen. Okay.
We had it shared before you fixed whatever you did.
So is it shared right now?
No, it's not shared anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, now we can see your desktop.
Okay, right. I just shared the entire desktop. So yeah, the use of steganography and Steganalysis methods. So
Sorry to interrupt. Did you want us to see your presentation? Because right now we're seeing your Zoom.
yes, please, the presentation.
I think you'll have to minimize your Zoom.
Okay, how about now?
Nope. Do you have multiple desktops?
No, this is just a laptop.
You'll be much better if you share the document, not the desktop, but if you share the document, your PowerPoint will be going to be much more efficient.
Okay, the document does not appear in the window tab of my share. So I have the option of, okay, so let me just get to, no.
Yeah, it's not up yet.
Okay, so I'm just going to share the entire desktop again. And
There you go.
okay, so you see the agenda now?
Yep.
Okay. So a little bit of history on data hiding. Steganography is basically data hiding in different types of files, like image file, text file, and audio file. And the video steganography can also be a combination of one of these, right? So I'm just going to touch upon, briefly touch upon some commonly used methods like least significant bit method that applies to images and audio files. and also methods like masking and filtering and transformations, which is a complex mathematical process of hiding information during the cosine transformations. So there's also text steganography, where line shift coding and word shift coding is used. And there's also audio steganography, where first the analog signal of an audio is converted to digital signals, and then exploit the least significant bit coding method, and also try to add more information like an echo to an audio file um, by keeping the intensity of the echo below the threshold of what the human audio can perceive, right? So let's look at those. So the history of data hiding dates back to olden days, where people used to just swallow information wrapped in wax because they know that wax can actually pass through their system without any modification. And also you try to shave the head and make a permanent marking on the head and grow back the hair. So that way you can also mask information. And also messages written on the backs of couriers using invisible ink. And when you write it with an invisible ink, you just need um, a type of powder that you can apply over the invisible ink, and the invisible ink suddenly becomes visible, right? With the chemical reaction with that powder. So these were some of the physical methods or non-cyber methods of hiding information that are commonly cited, right? So here, steganography actually deals with hiding information within the data files, right? The file format could be anything from text to audio to image or video, like how we saw before. But the art and science of writing hidden messages using various methods, and the methods are derived in a way that either the human visual system or the human auditory system, none of them can actually detect that there is information hidden in a file, right? So we can also contrast this with encryption, which is also one of the more common methods of masking the plain text and making it non-readable. But here in steganography, we don't even know that some other message apart from the intended message is available or visible, right? So the goal here is to hide info so that even if intercepted, like as in an encrypted file, if it is intercepted, yes, you can see something is there, but you cannot actually open it because you do not have a key. But in steganography, even if you intercept a file, you are still not given any clue or indication that there is information hidden in it. So the methods have to be that much clever, unlike encryption. So we'll look at the most common method, which is least significant bit method, and the variations of it in different types of files. So this is a picture to contrast steganography and cryptography or encryption, whatever you say. So message is hidden but not visible. And in encryption, message is hidden, but it is visible. However, you need a key to open that. So we tend to combine these methods. You can have steganography and encryption together. So that makes it even more robust, because even if in the first case, the hidden message is not visible. And even if somehow, like using Steganalysis, you do recover some part of it, but the second stage would be to have a key to decipher or decode the hidden message, right? So we come across frequently used terms like payload. Payload is actually the information that you want to hide. And you hide that information in a file, also called as a carrier, right? So that file could be, as I said, it could be a text file, audio, image, or a video file. And the format of that file is what we call the channel, right? So either we could do it in a video streaming or an audio streaming, or in a proper network file transfer connection between the two systems, like in a network file share, right? So the so channel also is important because that's how the communication or sharing the file with hidden content happens. So the most common method used here is the least significant bit method, or more commonly referred to as LSB method in short, right? So this method is dependent on the fact that computers use zeros and ones, or binary bits, to store almost anything, any data that is stored on the computer, right? So likewise, colored pixels are also stored in bits. If you take an image, as in the image steganography, colored pixels are also stored in bits, with each pixel typically representing 24 bits, right? Because any pixel is a combination of three colors, RGB, red, green, and blue. So if we assign 8 bits for each of those colors, so we get 24 colored pixel, right? So we do have 24 bits in a pixel. And how exactly we modify is that you take the last bit of every character. So let's say a character is represented by 8 bits in one of the encoding schemes. There are multiple encoding schemes, and one of the encoding scheme is EBC. The other one is ASCII, right? So each of these encoding schemes have a combination of either 7 zeros and ones, or 8 zeros and ones, or even 16 zeros and ones, depending on how many characters you want to accommodate. So let's consider an example of a character with all ones in it, right? So this is going to be like 8 ones. And if you convert it to decimal, the value of that character in decimal number system is going to be 255, right? If you change the last digit to 0, you are potentially hiding 1 bit of your character that you want to hide. Let's say you want to hide A. A also has 8 numbers, or 8 zeros and ones. So you are actually hiding one of those 8 zeros and ones of character A in the last bit of the actual file where you are hiding, right? So if you change only the last bit from 1 to 0, and then you convert it to decimal, your decimal value is still 254, which is very close to the original decimal value, which is 255, right? So minimal deviation as compared to the original value. So that feature is exploited here, right? So the last bit, or least significant bit, is mostly used to hide data. You can actually go 2 or 3 bits from the last as well, as you can see in the next slide. If you change just, by the way, the first bit is referred to as most significant bit, and the last bit is referred to as least significant bit. And if you try to change the most significant bit, your decimal value actually plunges to just 128. Okay, so that's going to be a significant deviation from the original 255 value, right? So the human eye can easily recognize, or human vision system can easily recognize that there's something hidden, something wrong, if there is so much deviation, right? So that's why the least significant bit is always exploited. So here's a simple example of converting a binary to a decimal, right? So you just multiply each bit with 2 to the power 7, 2 to the power 6, and add all those to get the decimal number. So here we see some characteristics of a pixel that you can modify using the bits, right? So each of these, let's say red, green, and blue, a combination of those is what gives you so many shades of colors. And there's also a combination of the actual contrast, which is hue, and the color depth, how deep or dark the color is with saturation, and also the brightness or luminosity, right? So a combination of all of these will give you multiple shades. And if there is a file that has significant difference in the shades, you can actually take advantage of those pixels to actually store or hide the information you like, right? So here, the red component is left at 252, and the blue component is left at 100 in both the cases. But the green component is actually modified from 101 to 100, and there's literally zero change that you can observe, right? So that's the power of exploiting least significant bit to hide information. Okay, so here's another example. Sometimes, I mean, most of the times you need not actually use up all 8 bits of a character in the original file in order to hide one character, right? So there are cases where less than 8 spaces can be used to hide one character, which obviously consists of 8 zeros and ones. So let's say we have 3 pixels of a 24-bit color image. And typically in computer memory, it utilizes 9 bytes. So each of the 9 bytes is listed at the top. And let's say you want to hide character A. And character A, the binary representation of which is 10000001. So you'll have to take up, if you are using least significant bit method, you'll have to take up the last bit of every byte, right? So if you replace the last bit of every byte with A, you see that only 3 least significant bits needed modification. Okay, so the first byte's last digit was already 1, and the first bit of A is also 1. So you need not actually modify that, because you're taking advantage of the binary digits that are already present in the original file, right? So only 3 bits were sufficient to hide A if you consider this example. Okay, so other image steganography methods, in addition to least significant bit, you can also have something called masking and filtering. More often you see some watermarks, digital watermarks on files. So you can actually hide information by modifying the luminance factor, okay, to create a marking on an image. And this is often restricted to only 24 bits. can change 24 bits because it's just a small mark on the page or on the image. So you can also do more complex transformations. So images are often compressed to reduce the size of that image for efficiency purposes, especially if those images are shared. And when you use an image compression algorithm to do that, there's some complex processes happening in the background, right? So like discrete cosine transformations of 8x8 matrix of bits of the original image, and that's going to be transformed to some state where most of the common zeros and ones are going to be eliminated, right? So in that process, you can actually hide information by modifying those transformations itself. Yeah, so that's going to get more technical and complex. So if we consider text steganography, we can also hide information within the textual characters, page layouts, and other similar textual content and formatting items. Okay, so any document actually gives you more options than ever. You can, some of the examples are given here, but there are many methods you can do this. Line shift coding. You can actually vertically shift the location of the lines to actually hide new information in lines. Or you can also do it horizontally by shifting some words. This actually creates more spaces, so that flexibility is to be taken into account when you are using one of these methods. So we also have Steganophony, right? So this is to hide, this term is used to hide messages in audio files. We're going to see that these audio files and the image files that we talked about can be used in combination to actually do video steganography, because a video is actually a combination of multiple image files working in tandem. Multiple images actually move, or they move at a much higher or faster pace that our human vision system actually perceives that, okay, there's a video moving, but it's actually a combination of multiple images, images with slight difference that actually gives you the sense of motion, right? So that feature is exploited, and a combination of whatever methods are available for image files, and also what methods are available for audio files are used in combination to achieve video steganography. We can use the same least significant bit method even for audio, only now that we need to convert the analog signal of human voice into a corresponding digital signal, right? So voice is always an analog signal by nature, because there are infinite values that our voice signal can take. So once converted, yes, you can actually exploit the same least significant bit method that we just discussed. And we also have echo hiding. You hide information by adding additional signal component to the existing audio, and that is a small echo, right? So if the echo is too high, if the intensity is too high, anybody can perceive that. But if the intensity of the echo is kept below the threshold of human auditory system, yes, you can successfully add more info to that audio file, and that can still go unnoticed. Yes. So, yeah, video is actually a combination of audio and image steganography. So most of those methods apply to video as well. And as a forensic specialist, in addition to knowing various methods of information hiding, we should also be getting access to some tools that we can use to successfully recover or successfully know if there is information is hidden and try to recover that hidden information, because forensic experts always deals with evidence that is in the digital format, and you are most likely to encounter these scenarios. So the process of analyzing a file or files for hidden content using tools like S-tools, invisible secrets, and many more tools that are available. So it can actually let you browse through the entire directory structure, can show you the likelihood that a given file has additional information hidden in it. So technically, the tool also has to have the capability to detect close pair colors, especially the contrast between different shades of color as in the image file, and something similar in case of text files and audio files as well, right? So I just got the screenshot of one of these tools to just show what options a typical tool can give. So you are asked to encrypt and or hide files in a carrier file, or extract or decrypt files from a carrier file. So these are the two options, one for steganography and the other one for Steganalysis. Yes, so you select the carrier file, you also select the source file. Okay, so I mean, one is the information that you want to hide, and the other one is the information in which your file should be hidden, right? So, and then it gives you some encryption settings. If you want to encrypt, specify the password for encryption for that carrier, and you also specify the file name and where you get it, right? You get the modified carrier file with your hidden information. So once you do that, you're going to get some output like the ones shown here. Okay, so you see the original file and you see the version with hidden file. Clearly, there are additional modified pixels. Okay, so you see a tiny dots here and there. So those shades, those different shades, let you know that, okay, some information is actually hidden there. Okay, and if there is too much, you not just use the least significant bit, but you go too much in that direction towards the most significant bit, actually you get very distinguished change in pixel quality and so on, right? Yeah, that's going to be some outputs right there that comes out of these tools. Okay, so with that, I'd like to open up for questions, if any.
If anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself or you can drop them in the chat as well.
I have a question.
Yep.
What is the smallest encoding scheme you've ever seen used in steganography? Like way back when IBM had their 6-bit encoding scheme that was the predecessor of EBCDIC. but if you're just going to encode a text message, you don't need a lot of bits to encode that if capitalization doesn't matter, and you're just trying to get information like instructions out. What have you ever seen anything smaller than 8 bits being used in steganography?
No, not really. From whatever I read, the least significant bit method using 8 bits, yes, that's the most predominant one.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, I have a question here. How many tools are available? Can we do it for data as well? Yes, you can do it for data as well. Yes, and we cannot really put a number on how many tools are available. Most of them are open source. You can actually download, for instance, S-Tools. You can actually browse and download. It can actually take your user input. You can just give any file as input, and it just gives you if there is any information hidden in it or not. So what are the implications of this with regard to cybersecurity for an organization? Yes, if you are doing a forensic analysis on a file, okay, so I mean, this has implication for any forensic consultancy or organization. Knowing the tools and different methods that are currently in use will actually open up for more analysis methods. You can actually try to use the latest tools that are in sync with the latest methods that are used for steganography, right? So that's an implication for digital forensic consultancy firms, which, by the way, there are many consultants for digital forensics, because more often crimes involve digital content these days, right? So you're more likely to examine a smartphone, tablet, or a laptop very often. What's the impact of the process on system performance? Well, yes, systems should be chosen as more sophisticated ones. Typically, when you set up a state-of-the-art digital forensics lab, you will actually take all of those into account for sure. So it does not have a major hit if you have the right systems in place. So have you ever tried a reverse image search on a modified Stego image on the internet? Okay. A reverse image search. Not really, but that looks like a great question. I can actually go ahead and try that. So this is more about doing this this kind of analysis for data loss prevention. Well, now that I think about it, yes, the other dimension to it is also looking at the integrity aspect of the data. Yes, you are right. So the data loss or integrity component of the CIA can also be checked. Yes, you are right. So this causes a change in hashes from original. Yes, you are right. So that answers the previous person's question as well. The hash code, yes, definitely it changes if there is some info hidden in it. But whenever you get the evidence file from the suspect drive, you actually take the hash of a file that already has a hidden information, right? So if you recover some evidence from the suspect drive, and you take a hash of it. So you are already taking the hash of the original file with hidden content. Is there any metrics for measuring the efficiency of a steganography tool? Okay, so it depends on the tool developer. Every tool will obviously have some metrics to, bring forward how good their tools are, and that's all part of the individual company that markets that tool.
Thank you for
Okay.
answering those questions. Are there any more questions?
Okay. Yeah, I got one more question. Do you have any recent references as to successful discovery of Stego in select files? Well, I do not think they make it public, especially the governmental organizations investigating a case. I'm not sure it's going to become public, but you can actually test out some test files available on the internet using S tools. You can actually see the text files will be extracted and given to you, or you will be able to download the text file that was actually not there, right? So you just feed the tool with just the image, and the text file will be generated after extracting it from the image. So if you have two files with different hashes, but same photo DNA signature, you may be looking at the Stego. Yes, you are right. So each tool leaves a signature in the way they encode the data into the file. It's also correct. Okay. So which is the best encryption or steganography mechanism? Which do you suggest? Well, LSP method is actually, yeah, is more efficient. It actually takes up lesser space in most cases from whatever I have read from the research papers. So most papers actually talk about that method. But if you want really complex mathematical operations, yes, you can actually go much beyond LSP method, but LSP method is the most discussed one. Are those signatures known or published anywhere? So which signatures are we talking about? Are those the hash codes? No, hash codes will not be published. Hash codes are taken to just verify if after they recover the evidence, if within their forensic lab, if some information got changed or not. So that is why they take the hash codes. Those are not revealed. Okay, informative and revealing presentation. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, that looks
All
like
right.
it's all for the questions. Thank you again, Professor
Yep.
Reddy, for taking the time out of your day to speak with us. We will be rejoining at 2 p.m. for the next presentation by Professor Doss from University of Nevada at Reno. So you can feel free to hop off if you would like,
Yep.
or you can
Yep.
hop back on when you would like. So thank you again.
Yep. Thank you, Ali, for coordinating all this, and thank